Hello. Welcome back to Cats and Books, which is my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. In May I read 10 books. That is like the most books I've ever read in a month. I am a very slow reader, so I'm actually pretty impressed. My summer did start this month though. The first week of May was my finals week. So I've kind of had a lot of time to read, but I'll stop jibber-jabbering and we'll just get right into it. So the first book I finished in May is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the first book in the Raven cycle, and I loved this book. Like many others, I had a little bit of a hard time getting into it, but once I did, I literally couldn't stop reading it. It's kind of a, like, paranormal, not really paranormal though, it's just kind of, I can't even describe it. It's very unique. At least pick this up from the library and give it a chance, and maybe you'll like it too. So I gave this 4.5 out of 5 just because it had a little bit of a slow start. The second book I read in May is Dreamology by Lucy Keating. This was the Bookbound Society Book of the Month, and I love this. I devoured it in a day. It is a contemporary about this girl Alice who has dreamt about this boy Max her whole life. Then she goes to her new school and she finds that he is in her classroom. And so she and Max as well, they try to find out how they're linked and what they can do to kind of like solve it. So I really like this. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really recommend it. It's just a light, cute contemporary. The third book I read in May is Scarlett Epstein Hates It Here by Anna Breslaw. This was the April uppercase book of the month. If you get uppercase, you knew that already. It's pretty short. I had kind of started it and was not really getting into it, and then one day I just sat down and finished it. I enjoyed it. It has really good messages of feminism because the whole plot line is that the main character's favorite TV show is canceled and she writes fanfic about this show, so she's like devastated. But she starts like bullying this girl at school who's like pretty by calling her dumb, and it's good. I didn't love it. I gave it a 3.5, which is kind of an okay rating for me. Actually, I think I gave it a 3. I don't know. But if you want to get it from the library, maybe get it a chance. It's really short. You could probably read it in a few hours. So yeah, there's the third book. Then the fourth book I read was The Dream Thieves, the second book in the Raven cycle. This book was so good. This is probably my favorite out of the whole series. It's also, I think, the longest. That's okay with me. I'm not mad at that. This was so good. So good. Ronan, my baby. I love Ronan so much. And I met Maggie Stiefvater. So all my books say this. Yeah. She was super cool. She was really cool. So that's my fourth book of the month. My fifth book of the month was a new release, and that is Highly Illogical Behavior by John Corey Whaley. I absolutely adored this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I read it in a day. This is my new favorite book about mental illness. So it's about this boy named Solomon, and he's agoraphobic, so he's like afraid of the world. He had a big anxiety attack, panic attack at school, and since then he hasn't gone to school, and it's been 3 years. And the other main character, her name is Lisa, she wants to get in like this best psychology program in the country, so she has to write a paper about her experience with mental illness, so she decides that she's going to try to fix Solomon and get him outside. So that's what this book is about. It's so good, and this cover is gorgeous, and it is so like well depicting of the story, even the back cover too. I just really recommend that you read this. I gave it 5 stars. So the sixth book I read was Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the third book in the Raven cycle. Just continuing the story. Love this one too. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 just because the story wasn't as interesting to me as the other books, but I still loved it. Of course, book 7 was The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. The Raven King, I just can't. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I cried a lot. I felt a lot of emotions.
Oh.
Anyway, if you have not read The Raven Cycle, what are you doing with your life? Go get it right now. Go do it. Go get it. Go get it. Anyway, so yeah, I finished The Raven Cycle. I cried a lot, and overall, this is probably my new favorite series because I've never had a series before where I loved every single book. Normally, one book kind of falters for me, so yeah, go read it right now. The 8th book I read was a one-day read, like a book that I read in one day, and that is Everything, Everything by Nicola Yoon. I love this book. It's about a girl who is believed to have this disease where she's allergic to everything in the world, so her mom keeps her locked up in her room. And then one day she sees a boy move in next door named Ollie, and it like falls in love with him pretty much. And she wants to get out so she can be with him, and it's all about their story, what happens. And this is one of those books that has like really short chapters, like chapters that are only one page like that. So it's a really fast read, and the author's second book is coming out in November, later this year, and I can't wait to read it. And I see everyone got arcs of it at BEA, and I'm like, ugh, my heart. Anyway, this book was amazing. You need to read it. The 9th book I read was also a one-day read, and that is Confess by Colleen Hoover. This is the first Colleen Hoover book I've read. I found it at Half Price Books, and I literally like freaked out because they had this. And first of all, I love this cover. Like, can we just look at this for a minute? This book is about a girl who you kind of don't really know why she's in Texas in the beginning because she's not from Texas, but she ends up getting employed for like a 2-hour art show. The book is pretty much about her love story with the artist that was the artist of the art show, if that makes sense. But there are so many like twists and turns in this that I did not see coming, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I cried a lot. I felt a lot of emotions. I got really angry at one character, and if you've read this, you know who that is. Really 2 characters. You know who it is. You know. But yeah, you need to read this. If you have not read Colleen Hoover and you're trying to get into it, I really, really recommend you read this first. Yeah, so good. And so, the last book I read this month was The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Again, this is my first book by this author, which is crazy because she's written a bunch of good books and I own them all. Like, really. Like, Second Chance Summer is right here. What's the other one? The one that's green. Since You've Been Gone, down there. I have them. I just have never read them. But this one, for some reason, really, really intrigued me, so I picked it up, read it. It's a chunky book. It's over 500 pages. But really, you just fly through it. I mean, you get so, like, engrossed with the characters and their story that you just can't stop reading it. So I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I almost cried. I loved it so much. And, of course, this cover. I mean, really, look at these dogs. There's Birdie. There's Andy. I love it. And then, of course, if you know Morgan Matson, she puts a picture on the inside as well. So yeah, that was the last book I read in May and gave that 5 out of 5 stars. So that's my May wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. If you've read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them down below. I'll link Goodreads, my Goodreads, and you can kind of find the books from there. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye. Bye.